Baku-san JRPG. How are you doing today, man?
Good, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. Here, I should probably stop playing that in the background. Hey, everybody, welcome to HitPoint, a new podcast, a new JRPG show featuring myself, my friend Baku. How are you doing today, man?
Man, I'm doing great. Can't wait to talk about some interesting news with you.
Oh man, we've got a lot actually on the docket for the day. A lot of stuff that I've actually been really excited to talk about as well. So much, in fact, that we actually had to cut some of it.
I think some's an understatement. I'm like basically holding a gun to Derek's head. It's like, you cut this today, mister.
No doubt. Baku, before the show, he reached out to me, I think it was like 2 days ago, and he's like, so I got a lot of topics here, but I think we need to maybe pare it down a little bit. You know, could you go through here and see what maybe doesn't interest you so much? And then what happened next there, Baku?
Yeah, someone added like 10 different games that you want to talk about. And I'm like, so I wrote back, I'm like, being this diplomatic, it's like, hey, listen, Derek, we've got an hour. I don't know if we can cover all of this.
Yep.
But I've heard a lot of people want this to be longer than an hour. So, feel free to shame Derek into doing a longer show on Twitter.
Yeah, well, I want to make it about an hour. I feel like that's a pretty sweet spot for RPG news, I think.
An hour and a half. Doing an hour and a half.
I mean, our last episode, when I finally cut it down, was about an hour and a half once I finally cut everything down.
See?
But yeah, well, we should maybe we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. If we run out of stuff to talk about, if we keep having too much to talk about, we'll make adjustments as we go. But man, hey, what's our top headline for the day there, Mr. Baku?
Oh boy, it's crazy, but man, Pokemon Arceus.
Arceus.
We'll talk about the pronunciation in just a second, because a lot of people have a lot of opinions on this last podcast. But man, they've sold more than 6.5 million copies in just 3 days. No, is it 3 days? 1 week. In 1
like
week.
A little less than a week.
Days.
It was like 6 days or so.
Yeah, six days or so. They sold more than 6.5 million copies. And that's huge. That's huge.
That is huge. Yeah. You know what else was pretty huge? Before we get into that very first headline that we're going to talk about in a little bit, the response from our first episode actually, I think was pretty exciting. I think.
Yeah, I read through all of them, and if y'all think that if y'all think that I won't read every single comment, I read every single comment.
There were a lot of comments to go through, and I'm overwhelmed with positivity. I appreciate everybody watching this, and just to kind of show some of that appreciation, I think we're going to go through some of these comments that we've selected that were particularly nice, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got one from Tyrone Wilson. So happy that we're getting some JRPG news from SuperDerek again. I will be watching every Sunday. Tyrone, you better be here right now. You said every Sunday. It's a Sunday.
It is, in fact, that Sunday. Thank you so much, Tyrone. It's a pleasure to have you watching it. This is one of those things that I really definitely wanted to do following the end of the JRPG Weekly Update. Like, at first, the JRPG Weekly Update was just a lot for me to do by myself, but Baku is helping with a lot of the load of helping organize this, actually. So huge thank you to Baku for being so awesome.
It's a great opportunity to learn from the great Derek. Let's just say that. A great senpai, Okay. We've got another one from Danny G. That was great. Introduced me to a number of titles that weren't on my radar. Previously, you introduced me to East and Legend of Heroes series, so thanks. Thanks for that, and keep up with the great work. By the way, I would do anything for a proper new Breath of the Wild game. Breath of the Fire game.
Yeah.
Breath of Fire, yes. Us would we, yes.
That was a really nice comment. And I would also do just about anything to get a new proper Breath of Fire title. We got 4 what I would call proper, and one that was still, I think a lot of people really like it. A lot of people still really like Dragon Quarter, but we won't really dive into that too much. It just didn't feel like a Breath of Fire game to me.
one of these days we should talk about all these games in the series that don't feel like they belong in the series. But
The black sheeps,
yeah, basicly one of
sheeps,
those.
sheep.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
can
that's
think
right.
of
You
a
don't say
couple right
sheeps, you
now.
say sheep. Oh,
Next we've got Grav who says Arceus. I think Arceus is also correct, like archaic. Or like Silverleaf's ability, which is another Pokemon. The RKS system is named after Arceus. So
mm-hmm.
I looked into this. Okay, I
Yeah.
looked into this because all of y'all wouldn't stop saying, "Oh well, this is wrong, this is right." I looked into it, and Arceus is actually the proper English pronunciation.
Well,
Arceus.
what did this proper investigation look like?
Okay, so it basically came down to this, right? You look at their official media, most of them says Arceus, right?
Hmm.
And it makes sense with the whole RKS system, as pointed out by by Graph. But here's the thing. Here's the kicker, right? The
Hmm.
Japanese name is actually Arceus, which sounds more like Arceus. And the only
Mm.
reason why they've gone with Arceus instead of Arceus is because Arceus sounds like arse, which our our friends from the other side of the pond will tell us that sounds like basically a word for your bottom, right? So and to
Okay.
avoid the whole Uranus sort of situation, they've decided with Arceus. So there you have it. That's the final word. We'll go with Arceus.
That's sad. So it's like it definitely should have been Arceus,
Arceus, but
Arceus rather.
I'll
But
concede that's fine. That's where all most of the official media. There's some official media that says Arceus, like particularly the earlier stuff, but they've moved on to Arceus. So it
okay.
is what it is. We've lost.
Yeah.
We've lost the battle.
Well, that's all right. That's at least it's good to have the official sources to refer back to, and get some closure on this. It's no longer the Magus Magus of the world. It's not the Wild West of the internet anymore.
God, that would never that'll be a never ending debate among RPG fans. I think
Yeah,
everywhere. Is it
that's
magus, mages? I've
it's
heard
Mao.
mages.
It's Mao,
Yeah.
right? Because
Mao. Yeah, no, Mao's the only, correct name that is undisputed, right?
yeah, and it's kind of funny because I was playing for review. Remember we were talking about Maglum Lord.
Hmm.
Well, in Maglum Lord, the Japanese VA is, I mean, that's all that there is. There's no English VA.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
whenever they're referring to the Demon Lord in text, I hear them saying the word Mao, and I'm
Oh
like,
yeah.
I know that. So they're basically calling them. I learned something. So I'm
Yes.
playing the game and they're calling him Mao, and I'm thinking like, well, that's interesting because they just called Magus Mao. I feel like Mao was sort of like a almost a generic term for like a demon lord, I guess, or like a.
Yes.
So it's like
Yes.
he didn't even have. I guess his real name was Giannis then.
Yes. Like
So
Magus is not even a thing. Like
yeah,
he's just referred to as
it's
his
a
title,
title.
which is the Demon Lord or the Fiend Lord.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
Well, now,
absolutely it.
now we learned something. So on
Wait, hold
Twitter,
on. Did you put us under like news hashtag? Because we can go into education though. We can
oh
teach
yeah,
words. You're learning
we
things.
could do that. We
We're
could do.
educational
I'll think
guys.
about it. I think I've got us under entertainment though, or hobbies. It depends on where we are. Uh,
Yes.
we'll talk about that in a second because on Twitter, Randy Hendrick rather asked me if we'd be adding this podcast to other services, including like Google Podcast, for example. And well, that sparked my interest in maybe pursuing that, so I did. So as it turns out, we actually are now on 7 different platforms for your podcast listening
God.
pleasure, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Pocket Casts, Stitcher, and also RSS, which is separate from like an actual platform. So there's 7 plus RSS. So wherever you're listening, it's good to have you here, and we'll try to make it an auditory experience for you.
Auditory experience.
So in addition to that, if anybody here is listening or watching on YouTube and wants to get in on that audio podcast version action, then you can find links to each of those services where we are hosted at superderekrpgs.com/hitpoint. And that'll have a bunch of links and that'll help you out there. And then also, this kind of ties into things a little bit. We currently have, by the way, did you know this, Baku? We are a 5-star rated podcast on Apple Podcasts right now.
Ooh.
We have gone gold, my friend. We have gone gold. And yeah, so if you out there watching or listening enjoy this podcast, then a 5-star rating would be very helpful to help kind of spread the reach of this podcast to other people out there. And only if you feel like we deserve it. If you feel like we deserve a 4, that's fine. If you deserve a 1, there's better things that you could probably be doing than listening to us at this point then.
Or do you really have anything better to do, though?
Just throwing that out there.
It's COVID, man. I mean, look, if it's not COVID, I believe you. But, man, it's COVID. Just stay home. Just listen to us. Please, hang out.
So I also saw that we had a couple of reviews on Apple Podcasts that I thought I'd read that kind of ties into this whole viewer feedback thing. So if you don't mind, from Red Hot, they say, I'm a big fan of RPGs and an even bigger fan of SuperDerek. Well, that's so nice. He says he's new to Baku-san JRPG, but he is an excellent source of information. Both hosts bounce off one another really well. I'm looking forward to seeing this podcast continue to grow. If you're a fan of RPGs, you owe it to yourself to download and listen. Great start.
Thank you.
That's so nice. I'm glad. That's one of the things that after our stream last week, you went ahead, because you're a madman. You just went straight in and streamed over on your Twitch channel. And
I'll do it again.
And when I was being a lazy bum, I went and checked it out and just kind of hung around for a minute. I saw that some people actually found you through the podcast tonight or last week. So that was really,
they hung out. It was great.
That was
So
super
please
awesome.
come back and hang out again.
Yeah, because you will be streaming after this podcast as well.
Absolutely. We'll be doing Xenoblade Chronicles 2. We'll be ending the Torna journey. So please come by and hang out.
And then we also got another 5-star from McClear Mountain, who said, I watched the first episode live on YouTube from Super Derek RPG's YouTube channel. I do not know his friend who is co-hosting, but love that another desperately needed JRPG podcast has arisen, featuring people who are knowledgeable in the genre of RPGs, JRPGs, and have a history with them. So that's just such heartwarming stuff to hear back. I love it. And
Yes,
if you guys
absolutely.
if you guys leave, fun and interesting reviews on the Apple Podcasts review thing, then maybe I'll read them on the air next time. So
Yeah.
it'd be kind of a fun way to...
We'll be on the lookout for interesting opinions and whatnot. And hey, if you guys got any, any criticism, just let us know. We're always looking for ways to make this show better for y'all. So
That is true. And I'm
give us
also...
those feedbacks.
We are also looking for other ways to get more audience interaction. And at the moment, I see that the chat is going, and I love it. But I also want to make sure that we'll see if we can include more interaction here a little bit. But we will be talking or doing more readings of super chats, assuming that doesn't break again. Because
Well, I don't know how that broke.
Maybe I should keep an eye on that.
Yes.
So
All right. Well, let's get to the meat of things, shall we?
let's do it.
Okay. So, Pokemon Legends Arceus. we just corrected the pronunciation. I'm off again. Arceus. So 6.5 million copies in 7 days, and that is insane.
I know.
Derek, do you know what 6.5 million copies means?
6.5 million copies over the course of like less than a week means that it had sold at least 1 million copies per day, like during that time, like on average. That is,
You know, like
that's a
when it
lot.
comes to super like nebulous numbers, I think it probably helps to put it in perspective, right?
Yeah.
So here's putting into perspective. The entirety of the Persona series, as of 2021, sold 15 million units.
15 million.
The
So
entire collection, every Persona game combined, Q,
across all
Q2,
iterations.
1 through 5, all the iterations of Persona combined sold about 15 million copies worldwide. This is 6.5 million copies in 7 days.
I remember talking about it on the JRPG Weekly Update, like when Octopath Traveler, oh no, when Persona 4 Golden had finally hit a million sold over like a year, and it was like
Yeah,
a big deal
it
because
was a big deal. Yeah.
Persona. I mean, we love Persona. I feel like we as a community generally love the Persona titles. Generally
Mhm.
speaking, it's pretty mainstream at this point,
Yeah.
but not as mainstream as real mainstream games are.
No,
And
Pokemon
Pokemon
is,
is
for
massive.
for anyone who's into JRPGs, whether you like it or not, Pokemon is the most popular JRPG on the planet.
Yeah.
Nothing even come close. Not Final Fantasy, not DQ, not SMT, none of the not Tails. Those are all top 10, but they don't come close.
Yeah.
Not even
You know,
close.
but with a
Yeah.
game like Arceus, I said it right.
Arceus.
Arceus.
Yes,
Yeah.
Arceus.
But with a game like Arceus though, I feel like its representation of the genre doesn't feel quite as like I don't mind. And I guess I
Yeah.
never did really mind because I was always like, yeah, it's not my cup of tea, but hey, it brings people into the genre. It's a gateway.
Hmm.
But it looks like, and I did stop by. Pete Dorr was streaming Arceus the other day, and I did stop in after one of my streams, and we rated him and hung out, and I got to see it in action, and it looks pretty good, and it
Yeah.
looks like people really love it too, and I love that.
Hmm. Yeah. The the changes are just super well received, and for anyone who wasn't here for the last podcast, well, again, welcome to this one. We did talk a little bit about the changes that they made. So instead of going like turn-based, select your attacks, and just sort of duke it out with like that they've added a couple of changes. You can do stealth on the Pokemons out in the wild. It is not a random encounter anymore. The Pokemons can actually hit you back, and if you get hit enough times, you'll faint, and you'll be sent back to the camp, and you'll lose items. It's a whole bunch of changes. There are actual strategies. Your Pokemon will retain more than 4 moves, which is
That's
huge. I don't
nice.
know if you guys ever play Pokemon, but it's such a pain to just pick 4 moves. Like, oh well, your Pokemon will forget one of them. It's like, really, my Pokemon cannot remember more than 4 things.
That bugged the heck out of me for so long. Like, I feel like it made sense for like a building a good like strategy for sometimes restrictions breed creativity, but I was
Mhm.
always like, remember in the anime when Charmander forgot how to use whatever Ember because he learned how to scratch somebody instead. I know that those are both like
Right.
starting moves, but still,
Hmm.
it's like what doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Like,
Yeah.
uh, and it
Well, with the
feels like
new
a lot
game, you
of
can
the moves should
equip
be
four
inherent to some
moves.
Pokemon. Go ahead.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, now you can equip up to 4 moves, but if you ever want to like swap move in and out, you certainly can.
That is so much
Which
smarter.
I know it just makes sense. Like, wow, that no one thought this was a good idea.
Oh man. I mean, I'm glad that they finally implemented it. I will admit that the idea of implementing it that way never occurred to me,
Hmm.
but
Well, but you
that's
also don't work for the game full time, so
that's true. I there the amount of time that I dedicate to thinking about Pokemon and how to improve it is infinitesimally small compared to anybody who works for Game Freak.
yeah. Um, but I think the question that I like to bring to everyone though is, this being such a huge success, and it is such a huge like broad appeal. Like, how do you think all this is gonna push towards like, the future of the landscape for JRPGs? Because I think, more games, more niche games are going to take notice of the positive changes. So it's like a litmus test, right? You're
Hmm.
testing these systems with a broad, a huge sample size, right?
Yeah.
You can't like not take notice. You're gonna want to look at a couple of things like how can I use this. I think particularly uh some kind of stealth mechanics. I think maybe really fun in some of these RPGs. You don't necessarily
Yeah.
have to have a monster collection sort of game, but
I will
I mean
say,
they certainly have something similar to that in the Tales of series. But I feel like they can expand on that.
I will
People are
say
receptive to it.
that the Pokemon wasn't the first one to implement some stealth mechanics,
Hmm.
even in the monster trainer genre or subgenre of JRPGs. Persona 5 actually had some really good stealth mechanics that they
Yeah.
introduced with Persona 5 and Royal, and I really enjoyed those. And I think that, I mean, they were a little bit different. They were mostly for helping you get the drop on the enemy. I don't
Hmm.
know how all the stealth mechanics tie into Arceus, uh, but yeah, I feel like that's something that yeah, we should be borrowing more often, I think.
Yeah, imagine being able to just steal item from an enemy and get away without having to fight through it, right? Like Final Fantasy VI, I think, was a pain where you're like, there's this, abysmal drop rate, and then you have to like fight through all the battles, and then you just praying to the RNG god that you get your drop, right? It's like, what if you can just steal from enemies and then just don't get noticed, and you can just keep trying, right? That
Oh
could be
man.
interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would have been crazy and Earthbound. I mean, did you know? I didn't even know this for the longest time. Did you know that there is a stealing mechanic in Earthbound?
There is.
Yeah,
Oh.
apparently. Yeah, yeah. If you use Jeff to look at an enemy to
Hmm.
spy on an enemy, he has a chance to steal an item from the enemy without actually fighting him.
Oh.
I
Well,
had no
there's your
idea for the
problem.
longest
You had to
time.
use Jeff.
Yeah, yeah.
That's why no one knew. It's like, well, of course.
So I just thought that that was really interesting that was even a thing. But yeah, if you could steal from an enemy without even having to get into the encounter, just because you could see them out in the wild,
Yeah,
that would be really game changing. That, I mean,
yeah.
so to speak. I feel like the stealth genre, the like Thief and other games like that have that ability, like it just works really well with at least Western style RPGs. As a
Hmm.
result,
Yeah.
I play every iteration of the Elder Scrolls like a stealth game, basically, because I'm always a
As soon
rogue.
as you said Western RPG, I was thinking Skyrim.
Yep,
Just
every
the
single one
fucking
of
over
them.
it.
Yep, it it's funny but that's just what I do. I steal and I shoot people with arrows
Hmm.
and I hit them with daggers. It's like everything every single time. It doesn't matter. I'll be like, this time I'm gonna be a magic user, and then I'm gonna like sneak around to get enough stuff to make my potions and everything. Still a thief at heart. So,
Man, it's good stuff.
but it would be nice to see that
Yeah,
in other JRPGs as well.
yeah. We've got a lot. Oh, we've got a lot of things coming up, and you know what? Here's the date to remember. February 10th.
Yeah.
February 10th is the date to remember. That's in like 4 days, right? 4 days.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Save the
February
date.
10th. Because all the games that we're going to talk about are all coming out on February 10th.
I know. What a day.
What a day.
So I guess we're going to be
Uh,
starting off with Rise of the Third Power, right?
we can start with Rise of the Third Power.
Yeah, Rise of the Third Power. A lot of you guys probably might have heard of this. A lot of people who, especially who are interested in RFL, when I reviewed that a little while ago, uh, they are making a not a sequel, but another game. The developers behind RFL are making Rise of the Third Power. It's going to be published by Dungeon Entertainment, and it looks like this is going to be another retro style turn-based RPG. It's set in the world of Rin as it recovers from like the Great War. It's got a story loosely based around like the climate of Europe in the 30s and stuff, and it's yeah. I think that it's kind of going to be it seems like it's going to be pretty interesting based on what we saw. Do we want to take a look at what we have there?
Yeah,
For
let's do it.
okay, here it looks like I might even need to switch which which trailer I'm looking at.
I'm waiting on you.
All right. So, Rise of the Third Power looks pretty sick as far as like the pixel art goes.
Yeah, I've compared it. You know, when you told me about it, I didn't even know about it until you told me about it. And when I looked at it, it looks like a huge improvement compared to RFL.
I mean, RFL was gorgeous to begin with, but the character profiles look like a huge improvement.
Yeah.
You know, that was one thing that kind of stood out with RFL. It was like, ooh, in combat, it looks way better. Look at that.
Yeah, that's
That
what
is
I was looking at.
That is really nice. Oh man. It's almost like Suikoden levels of detail there.
Oh, they really put in the work. That looks gorgeous. Rise of the Third Power. They even got the little Japanese underneath. That's cute.
Yeah, the games do have Japanese text and such. So
Yeah, that's what I was looking at. So I've got to say, okay, can I be honest with y'all? Because this show is about honesty, right? I'll be honest. I'll be candid.
yeah,
I am not a fan of the portrait art. I felt like that's probably like the weaker part of like the visuals. But
of
that being said, that's about the only thing that I didn't feel like they did a like amazing job at. Like I saw the character, they had that sort of like I think what they call like the same face syndrome.
mm,
So basically, when you draw a lot of characters for a game, you know if you have a relatively inexperienced artist maybe, or you're low on the budget, they'll end up having like basically the same face. I mean, go and look at the art
mhm.
yourself, man. But that's about it. The music so far, the pixel art, the battle, the special effects, all of those look incredible. So I'm actually a lot more excited now that I've looked into it than before.
One of the really interesting things about RFL that I didn't appreciate as much at the time, but now that you mention it here, I think is that the portrait art, not just the fact that like uh, the fact that it exists and that they give it to every NPC is really interesting. And that might be,
Yeah.
if that's a practice that they carried over from RFL, that might contribute to that sort of same face syndrome that you're talking about, where everybody kind
Mhm.
of has a similar look, maybe. Um,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. See, typically, if you do like mass-produced characters or like the not so important characters, it's okay. It's usually the main characters that you have to worry about.
yeah,
Yeah. But so just look at the main characters and you'll see what I'm talking about. They'll all have that like smile on their face. Like they have like no other expression that's acceptable. um but yeah, just take a look. It's interesting stuff that you start noticing with some of these indie games versus like a more like high budget title. Like you'll see these
the
things
high
like
budget
the
titles that
structure
would
of the
have.
face too.
I mean,
Yeah.
that said, take a look at Maglum Lord, which had some incredible character art, right?
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, I just didn't have a whole lot of fun playing the game. And
Oh,
so
absolutely.
you can have incredible art that just like oversells or can overhype a game, you know, hype
Mm-hmm.
responsibly. But then not just, it can just fall on its face. But then you can also have games that just play really well and maybe don't have the best art. And there's
Mm-hmm.
uh something really nice. Something that's kind of like home. Like, it feels a little homebrew. It feels a little more personal
Yeah,
when it's got that
absolutely.
personal touch. Even if it's not, even if it's not like they hired a super famous mangaka to to help out with their
You're
character
right,
art.
right. Yeah, it's hard to have it all. It's hard to have it all.
Yeah,
But yeah, we'll definitely be looking at the gameplay once it's available on again February 10th
that's
on
right.
PS4, Xbox One, the Switch, and PC. I glanced over the chat. I see you guys. You guys are like, what system is it on? There you go. PS4, Xbox One, the Switch, and PC. You're welcome.
what else do we have coming around the corner here on the 10th?
Can we talk about Egglia a little bit?
You want to talk about Eggly? We could talk about
Let's talk
Eggly.
about Egglia. Okay.
Yeah.
Egglia Rebirth is developed and published by Brownies Inc. And that's the company that's been co-founded with Shinichi Kameoka and Koji Tsuda. They're both artists. You may not know who they are by name, but you have definitely seen their art. They are
Oh yeah.
responsible for Sword of Mana, Secret of Mana, Trials of Mana, Legend of Mana, and Saga Frontier.
That's
So
right.
if you play any of those games and you just thought to yourself, wow, these arts look incredible. Well, you have one of those two gentlemen to thank. So in that game, you'll play as a red cap named Chubble, who's falling out of the sky and landing in the continent of Egglia. Okay. And this is gonna be like a turn-based dice and grid sort of battle system. So for anyone who is interested in turn-based games, congratulations, you get another turn-based title. This was originally on a smartphone game, but now the Switch port's got new missions, new characters. You can move around freely in the world, and also there's this like world building mechanism that's very similar to Legend of Mana. So if Legend of Mana was your thing,
hmm
this could be your next favorite game. Um,
One
so
of one of the things that I also heard about this is actually I think the third version of this game that has existed. Because there was Egglia Online, which
mhm.
was like the very first smartphone iteration, but it was
Yes.
entirely an online experience. And then they
Yes.
put out Egglia Offline, which was
Mhm.
then the single player experience. So this is a third installment of it that is like it's not just a one and done here. This is like an ongoing series of games that's kind of interesting to me.
Yeah.
And also I did happen to get confirmation about one of my hypotheses about the name of the company that's making these is Brownies.
Yes.
So one of the things that I found out about Brownies Inc. is that it was founded by a lot of the members who founded or who were part of the original Brownie Brown, who
Yes.
was
Yes.
responsible for Mother 3. They were responsible for uh, Sword of Mana, which or Mana,
Yes.
however you prefer.
So
But
Amanda.
super fun games, both of them. Uh, and and the artwork of Trials of Mana was definitely that's the Shinichi Kameoka, right?
Yeah.
Oh, so awesome.
You
Anyways,
know, it's that's the thing about Japan is in when we think indies in the West is usually like a new developer who's just like developing something independent or like a small company doing things. In Japan, it's different. In Japan, it's like it is still a small company, but is usually headed by some kind of industry veteran. Like they've got the star power. Whereas
yeah.
a lot of the Western indies, like small developers, they're trying to build a name, they're trying to do something fresh, they're trying to do something new. In
hmm
Japan, it's more about these veterans no longer wanting to play the corporate game, so they come out and they just sort of do their own thing. So it's indies in that sense. So
Yeah.
don't be surprised to hear like, oh, it's an indies game with like these acclimates attached. Like, well, yeah, because these guys are industry veterans who just don't feel like, working for large publishers anymore.
I kind of like that idea. I like that dichotomy of how the indie space is sort of like it's a way in and it's also a way out. it's
Yeah, I think
it's
so. That's really
depending on who
cool.
you are. I love it, and it can be so many things to different people. Like, I mean, there's a lot of people out there who want to make RPGs or any game really, and if you don't live in like Texas or California or on the far East Coast, uh, here in the States, anyways, it's really hard to get anywhere because that's where all the games companies are. They're
Yeah,
on the West Coast, East Coast, and in Texas, and that's
you
about
have to
it.
move. Yeah, you have to move.
Yeah, and that was, well, I mean, I was gonna go into game design once, but that
Oh,
didn't end up working out because I didn't want to move, and that was problematic. So yeah, but do you want to take a look at this Egglia trailer?
oh yeah, absolutely. Let's do it. I can. See, look at that art style. So you would be forgiven to think that this is a new mana game. Look at that. Look at that freaking logo.
I know. And so
I
the
love
egg
the
in
aesthetic.
Egglia is definitely not accidental.
Oh no.
Like everything
This is
here
very
seems to
much on
pertain
purpose.
to
Yeah.
like eggs of some sort. Look at that. That looks like Legend of Mana. That
Yeah.
world.
Like you can take any of these characters, plop it into Legend of Mana, and I would believe you that it came from that game, right?
Yeah. So there's characters that come from eggs and like worlds that come from eggs.
You can summon, like, you know, use them as skills. You see that grid-based battle just now?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So is that
So instead of being able
is
to
this a
move in a
tactics
pre-
game?
Well, so instead of being able to move like a certain amount of space based on character, you have to roll the die every time.
Oh. Oh, that's
Tell you
interesting.
how you move. I mean, there might be other mechanics that ties to the dice, but as far as I know, that's the only thing that I know currently without having to play it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, super interesting.
Doesn't that look really good?
Yeah. Oh, and the Brownies logo here. I'm going to share that again real quick. The Brownies logo. Look at that. That is so cool because the logo for Brownie Brown was also based on this like Irish folklore like fairy named Brownie Brown, who was known as like a hardworking little dude, and that was
a
part of the
gnome, right?
original. Yeah, he looks like a gnome, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, he's supposed. I figured I learned all this when I was doing my review of Mother 3, and it just stuck with me because I was like, oh, Brownie Brown, it's like a folklore thing, and you know, and it's neat.
Yeah.
And it's cool that they carried that forward, and that's how I was like, oh, brownies, Brownie Brown, all these people are from the same thing. It makes sense.
Yeah, I didn't know why it was called the brownies at first. I was like, brownies, really? Like, what? Where's Cookies Inc? Ha ha ha. You know. Like... Well, I looked into it. I'm like, oh, okay, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah. So it's kind of a spiritual successor to a game development studio. Always love it when that happens. Like
absolutely, and I can't wait to see more of their works. I think I'm definitely gonna try that one, when it comes out.
Yeah, there's so many games coming out. I think that Egglia is also going to be one of the ones that I try out as well.
Oh, well, there you go, guys. If you bother Derek enough on Twitter, he might just give you a review.
Oh, we'll see.
He might just do it. He might just do it.
I might. We'll see.
Okay. Next up, we've got a game called Ocean's Heart. This one is interesting because it is basically a love letter to the SNES era of Zelda games. So, what is it called? A Link to the Past. You play as a girl named Tilia who journeys through the world to rescue her father, who has been kidnapped by the evil pirate Blackbeard. And it's notable because this game is developed by only one person.
This is a one-person show?
One person, yeah. Max Mraz is the fella's name. I mean, I'm sure there might be some, contribution from folks here and there, but by and large, one person developed team. Yeah. And it's published by Nord Curran. I mean, he's not publishing it himself because wow, that would be impressive. He can publish the game by himself. But no, he's got a publisher. But as far as development is concerned, one person, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And it's called Ocean's Heart, and it will come out on the Switch and PC also on February 10th.
All right, cool. Do you want to go ahead and start up the trailer and we can take a look at it?
Yeah, let's do it. And it's loading.
Yep, it's thinking about loading.
What if it doesn't load? What if it doesn't want to do this?
Here, I'll try the old refresheroo. Let's see if that works.
Oh, there it is.
All right.
So it's your fault.
I know.
Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous?
That is really great. Like
That is, they're not even hiding the fact that this is completely inspired by Zelda.
nah. I mean, that's at a certain point you just wear it on your sleeve. You know, because it's so indicative. Like, this is what to expect. This is what you're getting. You know, if you love
and I don't
Zelda,
think that's
then
necessarily a bad thing. I think that's great, actually.
yeah, that they nailed it from the looks of it.
Yeah. One person. Just
That's
the amount of raw talent involved is phenomenal.
yeah, like doing any one of these things involved, like doing the graphics, doing the programming, that would be enough for one person to be impressive. The fact that they're doing all of these things,
Yeah. Oof.
just triple threat. Do they make the music too?
I don't know. I don't.
That might.
See, that's the thing. I don't know where like his work ends and contributors begin, if there are any. But I mean, his name's the only credit that I can find so far. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's pretty
it's
incredible.
super awesome.
I'm looking forward to that. So I did play not too long ago a different love letter to the 2D Zelda titles called Blossom's Tale, and it was also unabashed in its inspiration that it drew from other Zelda titles, and just I gotta say I love it. I love Zelda games. I love this. I loved Blossom's Tale. Yeah. And by the way, Blossom's Tale, I think, is getting a sequel even, which is really surprising.
Wow.
I don't have any information about it right now, but maybe
what if
we'll
you
keep
just
an eye out.
accidentally leaked something that you shouldn't have just now?
No, I mean, I saw it on the internet somewhere. It's not. It wasn't. I didn't leak it. It was something somebody else must have leaked.
It's like, what if you heard this from a secret source and they're like, don't tell anyone, but Blossom's totally gonna have a sequel.
No. That. I mean, that would be very horrifying. But that would be a really great incentive for people to continue listening, so they get their news here first.
The fact that you have to think about it makes me uncomfortable.
No, I'm very seldom privy to information that is not public. So far. We'll see. I mean, as long as I continue to leak public information and not private information, then I think people will be happy with it.
I mean, you can keep spoiling people with the music, Derek.
Yep.
Okay. Next, we've got apparently all the Kingdom Hearts are coming to the Switch via the cloud.
Yeah.
All of them.
All of them on the 10th.
All of them.
Where to begin here, man?
Yeah, where do we begin? So this new collection is called Kingdom Hearts Integrum Masterpiece for Cloud. Let's try saying that 5 times fast.
No, I refuse.
Which includes Kingdom Hearts HD 1.5 plus 2.5 remix, comma, Kingdom Hearts HD 2.8 final chapter prologue, comma, and Kingdom Hearts 3 plus Remind DLC. Try saying that 5 times.
Man, it sounds like word soup, right?
I hate Kingdom Hearts names, man. I hate everything about these naming conventions.
It's so bad.
It's so bad. It's so bad.
Well, okay. So I guess they're also selling this for a total of you can pre-order for $72 right now for these collections of games. After which point it's going to go up to $90. Now, at first I was like, hold on a second, because the story so far was a game bundle that they were selling not too long ago for, I want to say it was like $40. I want to say it was
$40.
I want to say it was like $40 for the story so far, which included Kingdom Hearts 1.5 and 2.5 remix and the 2.8 final chapter prologue. But it did not contain Kingdom Hearts 3 or the Remind DLC. So
yeah.
So I suppose for $40 you could have got the story so far, which would have had most of those things, and then following that, Kingdom Hearts 3 plus the DLC, I guess, what would they be charging then for the, I
Kingdom
guess,
Hearts 3 is constantly on sale.
for how much? Like,
I can look it up right now.
you want to say it's like $20 ish?
Keep talking. I'm
Yeah.
curious now. I'll look it up.
I'm curious about that too. And how much was the DLC for it even? I'm just
I don't know.
trying to gauge the value prospect here for this collection of games. The story so far for $40, I want to say it was $40, was not too bad, but I mean, actually, it was really good when you think about it, because it was several games that I was playing through for what felt like an entire year. What felt like a year, but
I mean, hold on. This is the story so far, but it's not the same as the Kingdom Hearts all-in-one package.
the all-in-one package. No, that is
Did you
different.
know that there's a Kingdom Hearts all-in-one package?
What is the all-in-one package?
So this is on oh my god. Oh wow. Okay, get this. Okay, get this.
Mhm.
The Kingdom Hearts all-in-one package includes Jesus God. Okay. Kingdom Hearts 0.2 Birth by Sleep, Kingdom Hearts X Black cover, Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance HD, Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep Final Mix, Kingdom Hearts Recoded, Kingdom Hearts 358 over 2 days, Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories, Kingdom Hearts Final Mix, Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix, and Kingdom Hearts 3. And it was basically for sale for $20 for PS4.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that is everything except for the Remind DLC. So at this point, what are you paying $90 for?
I don't know.
The ability to play it on Switch remotely, like that's the thing. Like, if this was something that you could just play on Switch and play it portably, there might be a value prospect there, because then you could be able to play it on the go. But here's the thing, it's the cloud. You have to have a solid internet connection. You're not going to play this from a hotel room, on like their crappiest internet service that you can find. This is also an action RPG that you're playing over the internet, with all of the latency that is going to entail. And on PlayStation 4, you can get all of that. So here's the games that you rattled off right there. That's everything except for the Remind DLC.
Which I'm pretty sure won't cost you like $80, right? Like...
Yeah. Yeah. So here's the thing. Don't buy that. That's so bad. That's such a price gouge. I mean, and they know it. They know it because they're charging $72 for the pre-order. That's how you know. That's how you know that they know that they're doing you dirty, because then they're using the threat of raising the price. Oh, don't miss out, or you're gonna have to pay an extra $28, an extra 30%. Oh my gosh.
Jeez. Hey Derek, by the way, the chat's saying my mic is still a little low or muffled.
Is it? All right. Here,
Yeah.
I'll boost you back up a little bit further.
Yeah, sorry, I'm not like reading every single message, but one just popped up and I was like, oh, okay.
No worries.
Yeah, but geez, $72. Well, okay, to be fair, devil's advocate time, okay, Derek.
Sure.
If you do get the pre-order, okay, if you get a pre-order, you'll be treated with the pre-order bonus of the what is it? The Keyblade Advent Red.
What's that?
I don't know. Like
skin? Oh, it's a Keyblade. Oh, it's not a physical Keyblade. It's an in-game item.
Yeah, you wish, right? You would think that $90 they'll give you like an actual Keyblade sent to your mail.
I was gonna say $90. I would pay that for a. Yeah, that would about make it worthwhile for me, actually, if they sent me a legit physical Keyblade that I could put on my rack of Mall Ninja swords and everything. That would be that would be the way to go. It's so bad. Why Square? And it's gonna run poorly. You know it's going to.
It's gonna run poorly, yeah. But Someone said Keyblade NFT. Yes. Which by the way, okay, by the way, we will talk a little bit NFT later. But by the way, you know, if you do get the PS4 like, all-in-one version, you could also play it on PS5 if you can
That's
get your
true.
hands on one.
That's
Do you
true.
worry about like next gen compatibility? PS got you covered, guys. Just play on the PS5.
You know something I hate about myself? It's like I'm sitting here thinking, don't buy that, don't buy that. It's so bad. But then part of me is like, there's not very many of those that are going to sell. Those are going to be rare someday. Those are going to be hard to find someday, and they're going to be worthless because the servers are going to get shut down, and then you won't be able to play no matter what. But part of the back of my brain's like, yep, that's going to be one of those things. Someone's going to sell the collector's edition version of that they spent $400 on or something, and it's going to be worth $10,000, in
No way.
35 years.
No way.
I,
No way.
I really hope not, because that's such garbage, man. I can't believe that they're doing that for $90.
Wow.
As opposed to
you give people a reason to buy something, they'll do it.
if you get the all-in-one and then you pay like the extra $10-$20, I don't even know how much they're selling the Remind DLC for. You've saved all of your money.
Yeah, it was on sale for like $20.
Yeah, you'd have saved $60.
I wonder how much you could.
You'd have saved $60 and had enough to buy a good game.
I'm curious now. I'm actually looking on Amazon now to what's the price? Okay, right now with no discount on Amazon, you can get away with it for $36.50 Prime. That's without discount.
Yeah,
all of it, all in one package. $36.50, which is actually surprisingly close to half of this pre-order price.
That would be a really good deal.
Jeez.
All for the privilege of playing it on your Nintendo Switch at home, right next to the PlayStation 4 that you already own. Because you can't play it because you can't play it outside. You can't play it on the road, on the bus. You are tethered. And that is such insanity. Okay. I'm sorry. I don't want to be too much of a downer, but just nobody should do that.
Yeah, basically. No. But people who are smart enough to be watching the show are smart enough to know not to fall for that.
That's right.
That's right. All right. So that's all the games that's coming out very soon. Again, the date is February 10th. So if you want to pick up any of those games that we talked about, February 10th is the date. We'll of course be continuing to talk more about these new game releases as they come up. But next I've got this pretty interesting announcement that came out. It is the game. It's Mina the Hollower. Have you heard of that, Derek?
Mina the Hollower?
Mina the Hollower. Have you heard that?
I heard about it on Twitter. I saw a mention of it on Twitter. I have not really done any looking into it though. Okay. I do I do so much prep for this show. No. I do want to also keep a lot of my first impressions fresh. So I've really not seen very much of this at all.
That's his excuse. Okay. Well, let's talk about it, right? So the Shovel Knight series developer Yacht Club Games announced another Zelda-like top-down action RPG. The name is Mina the Hollower, and the Kickstarter campaign went live on the 1st, actually, and it's already funded within less than 24 hours. As we speak right now, it is sitting at $701,000 and 169. Well, actually, no, $701,169. It just actually just went up a little bit.
Nice.
I was reading the number. Yes, someone probably from here went over there and bought it. Which me y'all did that. 12,000 backers 24 days ago. Looks extremely promising. As you all know, Shovel Knight, it's a highly successful game that's been ported to all kinds of different systems. And now the new game is going to be a Zelda-like game. You want to take a quick look at it?
Yeah, except I don't think we're sharing your audio. So I was just realizing that there's a trailer. I should probably load that up real quick. And then, yeah,
Yes, if you don't mind.
yeah.
Do you need the YouTube for it?
Is there a YouTube URL? It looks like it's just on Kickstarter.
Oh, there might be. I mean, if I were them, I'd throw something on it. Mina the Howler. Of course there is.
Of
And
course there is.
of course there is. Of course there is. Can I load a link into the thing or no?
Um, I can find it real quick, and I can throw
Yeah,
it in.
yeah. You can
Okay.
find it by searching the name.
Yeah. Here, we'll just a moment while I pull that up, everybody.
In the meantime, is the mic sounding better now? Is it sounding okay?
I think you sound great.
I think I sound terrible all the time, regardless of what you do.
Well, your microphone sounds great at least.
My microphone sounds amazing. It's me. I'm the problem.
There we go. Okay, so I've just added it to the thing.
Okay, I see it.
All
I
right.
clicked it. Yes. Okay. It's playing.
All right.
That's cute. Okay, not that. That's not cute. Okay, that's cute again.
Okay.
The creators of Shovel Knight.
Shovel Knight always looked really cool to me. Thing is,
What?
Shovel Knight, it always looked really cool to me, but it was never really my jam because it was all side-scrolling kind of.
Yeah.
And this though,
This got like a slight Castlevania sort of aesthetics, but also like Game Boy Color, and
yeah,
also Zelda.
yes,
Oh,
yeah.
This looks really fun.
This looks really great.
Yeah.
No wonder it hit its Kickstarter already.
Yeah. I mean, you've got like the Shovel Knight kind of like name back in this. People are expecting an amazing game, as they should.
For sure.
Music's nice.
It's definitely got that NES sound chip vibe.
Yes, yes, I love it.
This might be my first game that I play from this developer.
Really?
Yeah, I wonder if it's gonna keep up that really hard, or maybe not really hard, but I feel like Shovel Knight's been known for its like difficult gameplay, right? I wonder if it's
Yeah,
gonna...
a lot of the Metroidvania games typically would have pretty difficult gameplay. So I wouldn't be surprised if they keep that difficulty up if that's like their audience, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I always found Zelda a little easy personally, but then again, Zelda is meant to be more approachable, right? So I totally understand why they would do that.
Zelda has a
but for
weird
something like
difficulty
this-
curve. It's got a weird difficulty curve because it actually starts out a lot harder, I think. I always die way more in the very beginning of Zelda because you have like you get hit 3 times and you're dead, right? You have 3 hearts. And so you're always dying, and then eventually you get like 25 hearts or however many. And it's like, oh yeah, I can take a few hits. That's fine.
Yeah.
Like
It won't kill me.
The random just shaft that the game throws at you just doesn't whittle away at your life as often, as much. So it's like the further you go into the game, the less difficult it gets. Usually.
Yeah.
So
You've gotten better at the game, and you've got way more health. It's like I forgot what game it was. I think it was what's the game called? Night in the Woods. Have you ever heard of that? Night in the Woods? Oh, A Night in the Woods.
No, I've never heard of it.
Yeah, so it's sort of a story narrative sort of driven kind of game, you know, with like little mini game. There's this mini game in there where you have to climb the tower, and the higher the tower you climb, the less health you have. So it's sort of like the opposite of Zelda, like the opposite thing that you're talking about. And the boss gets more difficult and you have less health, like max health as you climb up the tower.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like it's actually pretty cool. And I was saying, like, man, if they release that as the full game, I bet you people will buy it. But
That would be really
I digress.
interesting. I like the idea.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Um, so that was again the Kickstarter for Mina the Hollower. And if you guys want to be a backer, again, the Kickstarter is still live for another 24 days. So head on over. Yeah, I think they should just all sponsor us. We're like selling like all this stuff. Like, sponsor us.
All right. So
All right, Derek.
we got some industry news to talk about, don't we?
Lots of industry news.
A
Lots of
lot of
industry news.
a lot of things moving in the world of RPGs and JRPGs and everything in between.
Mm-hmm.
So
What do you want to do?
let's start at the
What
top.
sticks out to you?
What's that? What
What
stands
stands
out?
out to you? What do you want to do first?
Let's see. Let's go with okay, here's one that I was actually pretty interested in. It's actually got to do with Trails the Trails games, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So there's apparently a new Trails of Cold Steel anime adaptation that's been confirmed for next year. Not this year, but next year.
Yeah.
It was originally scheduled for this year though, but it's been delayed. And
Mm-hmm.
the full title is apparently The Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel Northern War, which
Yes.
is well, I don't know. I've not played any of the Cold Steel titles in the Trails series yet.
Oh, spoilers.
So there might be spoilers, but it also looks like it's going to feature an original protagonist.
Yes.
So
Yes.
is that does that mean the original protagonist, or just like, oh, there's an additional person in this cast? Is that
So the anime is actually going to start a brand new original for anime protagonist, who's a girl by the name of Lavi. And
Mhm.
that's all we know.
Okay?
That's all
So
we
it's
know.
so it's not necessarily made clear. So it seems like it's probably going to. Gosh, I don't even know. Like, is it an all new story, or is it a retelling of Cold Steel?
So here is what I've gathered from the Falcon website, see,
Mhm.
original sources.
Yeah.
Um the way that they've written it in Japanese is that this will be a retelling of part of the Cold Steel from the perspective of Lavi.
Okay. So it's
Yes,
from the perspective of a new protagonist,
from the new
Lavi.
protagonist. Yeah, retelling this this event that happened in North Embria,
Erebonia,
which is
right?
where the Northern Wall takes place.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
so it's
that's pretty
super
interesting.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. So she's okay. That's right. It takes place in North Umbria, northernmost
Mhm.
province of Erebonia. Okay,
Yes.
I see. I see.
Yes.
So it's
And I think it's cool because ask any Trails fans, right? What's like the number one thing that they love about the series, and it's almost unanimously the lore.
I was gonna
Love
say
the
the
lore.
waifus, but
Well,
okay.
okay,
Yeah,
fine.
the
The
world
waifus
building
and then the
is.
lore. Okay, waifus and then the lore. Well, hold on, time out. Isn't waifus part of the lore,
I mean, hey,
or is it?
it's all about the plot. Yeah.
That's right. I read this magazine for plots.
No, I get. I'm just kidding. But yeah, that was one of the first things that actually finally pushed me toward playing Trails in the Sky and
Mhm.
Trails from Zero, Trails to Azure. Was when people were telling me. I did a poll a long while back asking, what series has the best world building, and it was like unanimous. It was like everybody was like Trails, Trails, Trails,
Yeah.
Trails. It's like, okay, well, I better get on that. And I've
Mhm.
got to say, I concur. It's
Mhm.
it's really something else. It's a whole other beast. If you are willing to go down that rabbit hole, there's stuff to be enjoyed there.
Yeah, I think any JRPG fan should try one of the Trails games. I myself have only gone through Trails in the Sky FC and SC. I haven't
Hmm.
gone to the third yet. I will try to make time to go to the third. And then now that Zero and Azure are well on their way on Steam, I really don't have any excuse to like hold back because I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna do Cold Steel until I get to Azure and Zero whenever that happens, and
Yeah.
then The good guys at Falcom decides to surprise me with the news like, oh yeah, those Geofront guys, they do good work. We're just gonna hire them to do
Ah,
translation.
wasn't that
Congratulations.
awesome? I know.
Yeah. No, yeah, it's like the best story that I've heard. Like I wasn't even a big fan of Trails, but you've convinced me that way. It's like that feels good. That
That
was
feels
good.
super wholesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that
And
was super wholesome.
so, if you do dive into the third here
Mhm.
pretty soon, you might be able to finish it in time for the official release of Trails from Zero when it eventually
Yes.
does come out sometime this year. So,
Yeah, sometime
knock
this
on,
year.
knock on wood.
Yeah, we'll definitely cover it when it's coming close to the release date. So stay tuned to our future podcast, guys.
Indeed.
Okay.
Oh, and one
Um
other thing I saw Brittany Avery, one of the initial localizers of Trails in the Sky. She tweeted
mhm.
that she wanted to be involved in that. And it's like, I want you to also. So I
Oh
retweeted
god,
it.
yeah.
If everybody
Please.
here wants her to be involved, and I think you should, go give that tweet some love from Brittany Avery. She's at Hatsu. It's HATSUU. She's super awesome person to have gotten to work on that. And she did such a great job. So
Yeah, absolutely. Give her that signal boost, guys.
for sure. So then,
Well,
do you want to talk
speaking of
about
anime.
one of your options here?
Well, no, I was gonna talk about something that still excites you a lot more
Oh,
than myself,
okay,
right?
fine. Sure, we could talk about that one.
Is it Shenmue or Shenmue? Shenmei?
Well, it's
Because I don't know. Is this supposed to be Chinese or Japanese or not? Neither. Like I don't know how to pronounce this.
that's
I
a good
would say
question
Shenmue
actually.
because that's a
I've only ever heard people refer to it as Shenmue, but
Shenmue.
it does follow a Japanese man, young
Mm-hmm.
man, Ryo Hazuki,
Mm-hmm.
and he also does travel to China. So
Yes.
so it could be, some odd mix of Chinese and Japanese influence here in the name. But anyways, it got an anime made by Crunchyroll, or rather co-produced by Crunchyroll and Adult Swim, and
Which
it
is a surprising combination.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it just put out their first episode. I watched
Mm-hmm.
it. I watched it on Verve because that's what I had, and it was in Japanese subtitles. So I,
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, as much as I wanted to, I couldn't listen to the English dub because I really wanted to just make Baku cry. Um, but it was really really good actually.
Mm-hmm.
The first episode just covered like the first chapter or so of the video game, where well, Baku, I don't want to spoil things for you for this
Oh God, please,
22,
please.
23-year old, but this it did a really great job. The
Mm-hmm.
action of it was uh it was it felt really impactful, like the fight scenes that were in it, like it there you could feel the impact. It didn't feel cheaply produced at all. I want to say it kind of felt
Wow.
yeah, I didn't expect much, and I was blown away by this anime so far from the first episode. And the big question is, how far is this going to go? Is it going to cover all of the events of Shenmue 1 and 2 and 3? Is it going to go beyond 3? Is this how they're going to like wrap up the series in the end?
Instead of giving us a game, they're just gonna wrap it up in
I
anime.
mean,
It would be
yeah,
cheaper to produce.
it probably would be. And it seems like, I mean, I feel like we've been waiting, Shenmue fans have been waiting for like 20 dang years for some sort of conclusion. I think most people at this point, while they would be saddened that the games might not come out as games, they
Mm-hmm.
would probably at least be happy to finally have the mysteries solved, at some point, and some sort of conclusion provided, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Um, my feeling is that if they do go through the story and give you some kind of closure, like the anime ending may not necessarily always be canon. Just coming from a long time anime fan, I mean, look at Full Metal Alchemist, right? Look at the original anime versus Brotherhood, right? Like it's like anything can happen, right? They
That's
could
true.
have an actual anime ending that's completely different, and maybe that's the ending and you don't get anything else, or maybe
Could
there's
be.
so much pushback from the community because the ending just sucked, and then they just decide to. I mean, that's what happened with Fullmetal Alchemist. So you never know. You never know with these things.
Yeah.
But it's just good to see some attention on this cult classic, absolutely.
Hmm.
And based on the trailer that I've seen, I don't know, I don't want to spoil you, Derek, but there will be forklifts. Yes,
Oh,
there will absolutely be forklifts. Like it's
well,
almost like they know that that's the thing
I'm sure they know it's
that
a
fan
meme.
wants.
Of course, they know that it's a meme.
There will
But
absolutely be forklifts in the anime. So please,
let's.
if you're interested,
I will say that
take a look.
the forklift spoilers that you just revealed to everybody are at least revealed in the intro cutscene, in the intro OP. So let's go ahead and take a quick gander at that trailer so you can see a little bit of what we're talking about here.
Yes, sir. Oyaji means father.
I figured that out from the subtitles.
I wanted to turn this into a teaching moment,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the the Sakuga is real in this.
Hmm.
You know what that means? All that individual like animations for like it's not just like stills that are like moving flip flaps. It's got solid animation. Ah,
Yep, there's the forklift.
yep.
Well,
The
look at
forklift.
that forklift preview right there.
Ah,
They
it is
snuck that
so.
in.
It's nice. I love it. Um, I can't wait for the next episode. Unfortunately, it's not bingeable. They're doing the one episode a week kind of deal. I think.
I'm
It,
just gonna not watch until it's all out. I'll binge it. They can't stop me.
the music is also really nice. I mean, it feels like it's straight out of Shenmue,
Yeah.
the video game. So it's got that Chinese influence in the music.
Yes.
It is wonderful.
Pretty cool stuff.
Very cool
Oh
stuff.
boy. Well, I'm super excited. I think chat's very excited about it too. So hey,
Oh,
more things for you guys to do. That's what we're here for. Tell you guys all the news, all the games that are coming, because we want to take up as much time of your life as possible.
that's right, man.
All right. Something to touch upon really quickly. Okay, not a whole lot of news coming from this, but I think everyone should know it is Final Fantasy VII 25th anniversary. Yay! Congratulations, 25 years ago.
Happy
This
anniversary, Final
game
Fantasy
came out some
VII.
25 years ago. Does that make you feel a little old? Just a little bit?
No, because
No?
honestly, it's because I didn't have a strong connection to Final Fantasy VII when it came out. I think I've talked about
No.
that before. It was not like a big thing for me. So like my first experience with Final Fantasy VII was the media trying to blame Columbine on it.
What?
Do you not remember?
No.
You don't remember that?
No,
Oh
no,
yeah,
I did
yeah.
not know Final Fantasy VII was part of the blameless.
It was like that plus Doom or was it Duke Nukem? I think it was Doom because it was a multiplayer. Or was it Quake? I don't remember. Some FPS.
I can
I
see
know.
Doom or Duke Nukem, but
Hmm.
really, Final Fantasy VII is part of the reason that Columbine happened.
That's what they were saying at the time.
What?
That's so. Anyways, that was my first experience with Final Fantasy VII. Was
Mhm.
seeing the media try to like smear video games as being the source of the violence, and their evidence was, of course, these kids liked playing these video games, and therefore,
God.
therefore, apparently, gosh, it's so ridiculous. People, I mean, if it's not the rap music, it's the video games. It's never the violent media or just, you know what? We're not going to go into that at all. We're not gonna go into the.
It's so many years ago, and I this anger is coming out for me. It's just it's,
I know. It makes me so angry that
ah,
people will just find any reason to dog on video games because they don't understand it. And at least that was how it
yeah.
was back in the day in 1997 when it was
Hmm.
originally released.
Yeah,
So, gosh,
96, one of those. Yeah,
96 in
like
Japan, 97 in the
yeah.
US.
I'm not even a big Seven fan, but like just this weird
It's
rationality, it just drives me
so
crazy.
senseless. It's
Yeah.
senseless.
Anyways, happier news. Happy 25th birthday, Final Fantasy VII. Whether or not you're a fan, you can't deny the impact that the game has had for JRPG in the world scene and mainstream and making it very popular. And I would say any less than, Nintendo having saved like the gaming industry. It's one of those big events that sort of happened, right?
Yeah.
And you don't have to like Nintendo, but you can't deny that sort of saved the gaming industry, and now
Hmm.
we're here. Any more than FF7 sort of like made JRPG like international, right?
Yeah.
It's super approachable. Everyone likes it. And then of course there's Pokemon too, but as Derek has mentioned, and I think many of you guys will agree that Pokemon doesn't exactly strike you as a JRPG, right? Right. So the next game that could really be like the face of JRPG for mainstream is, well, Final Fantasy, and it all kind of started with FF7 making the big splash. So without this, we probably won't have as much like international release of JRPGs today.
It's true.
It had to start somewhere. So
Yeah.
um, I'm like I said, I'm not like the biggest FF7 fan. I like FF6 better. Fight me, but
Sure.
I saw fighting words in chat. I saw someone say FF9 is the better game. Fight me. Um, but um, so there are two logos released, and it's not a whole lot of news coming from this. They are saying that there will be more FF7R, a remake, part two news coming out later this year from a letter from the director of the game. But here's my question to everybody: do you all feel like this is turning into a Kingdom Hearts kind of situation? Because unfortunately, maybe I'm just being pessimistic, but it really, really feels like this is turning into a Kingdom Hearts situation,
In
which I
what
was
way?
hoping to avoid.
In what way do you feel like it's becoming like a Kingdom Hearts situation?
As in, we're not going to see the ending to this game until PS7, like 15 years later.
Oh,
Yeah, that kind of Kingdom Hearts situation.
eh, I mean,
Yeah.
who knows? The thing about Final Fantasy VII Remake is that it does depart. I don't think that's too much of a spoiler to say it does depart from the story of original Final Fantasy VII. They
Yes.
could hypothetically wrap things up in the next game if they just completely sideswiped the story and went off into a completely different direction. You never know. It could be a two-parter. I hope it isn't, because
Yeah.
you know that if they wrapped it up in the next one, then they done omitted a lot, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh man, they've gone goofed if they feel like that's a good idea, because
So
I can
pick your
tell you that
poison.
backlash is.
Yeah, so pick your poison. Do you want it to go on forever, or do you want it to be wrapped up short and sweet? Or what should we expect or hope to expect from Final Fantasy VII Remake at this point for people who are actually invested in it? Because when
It's
did
it's
when
it's
did
a
the
it's a
first one
tough
come out
one.
even? When did the first part one of the remake come out? It was like two
I think
years
like
ago?
was it 2 years ago? Yeah. And now we're just getting news of part two
Yeah. Like are we getting
sometime this year.
are we getting one episode every 3 or 4 years? Ugh. I don't know,
Anyways,
man.
if you all have any particularly strong feelings about this, let us know, because I would love to hear from you all.
Yeah, for sure. So, and you know what?
And
So, Final Fantasy VII, universally loved and admired by all, right? You know what else is universally loved and admired by all? Konami, selling NFTs.
I was trying to see where you're going with this. Okay. Okay.
Konami selling
Okay.
NFTs, universally acclaimed from everybody. Everybody loves Konami. Everybody loves NFTs, and everybody loves it when Konami sells that NFTs, right?
First, you came in with the Columbine thing, and now you come in with Konami. That's what's going on. All right, let's talk about it.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about this.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't think actually anybody loves Konami. Some people love NFTs, but I don't think that those people are gamers at this
I
point.
think we're pachinko fans in here, right?
Yeah,
We
oh
have a
yeah,
very
we're all.
diverse viewership.
I mean, I think I did at one point compare Persona social links to playing pachinko. Like, you just got to play it, like, you just got to drop it and let the puck bounce wherever you go, and what you get is what you get, and that's the best way to enjoy it.
Yeah.
So in a way, sort of.
Yeah. Okay. So in their consolidated financial results, which there's a PDF of if you guys want to read that. Yours truly read through some of it because I like reading financial documents. Konami is basically doubling down on NFT, saying that they are needed for art preservation. In quote, in the art, inside the document, they say we will also be selling NFTs in an effort to preserve content that has been loved by our customers as commemorative art. Konami sold Castlevania NFTs last month, actually, and earned something like 160,000 from it. And the items that includes like images and songs and some animated clips from the series, 160,000 in a single auction that took place in January. So yeah, and they're like, yeah, no, we're gonna keep doing it. So expect to see more Konami NFTs. I don't know,
Man,
Metal Gear maybe.
you know, Konami selling NFTs is one thing, but I'd really wish they'd start selling IPs instead.
You know what's interesting is that tying over to the sort of the great console war of now entering the phase of just buying up studios.
I know. I was
It
thinking
would
this
be
too.
interesting if Sony were to buy Konami out. I don't know.
Somebody needs to put old Yeller down. You know,
Yeah.
that's where we at right now. You know, it's just they're a little rabid at the moment. They're a little, foamy at the mouth. Maybe I think
Oh
I think they'd be
God.
best if we just they should not be in business anymore. Somebody should just Konami needs to be euthanized and their IPs like just let out into the wild into a Konami just needs to take a trip to the a farm upstate.
Yes, a farm upstate and just
Just live a happy little corporate afterlife up there, and then other companies who make video games, good ones, could do something like, I don't know, reunite the people who are making Eiyuden Chronicle with their IP, Suikoden, right?
yeah.
What other games have Konami made that would be incredible to see revived?
Gladius would be interesting. That's that what is that called? A side scroller or a top down scroller shooter game. That has like
Mhm.
the famous Konami code, right?
Yeah, up down,
That's actually the
yep,
what the game that I learned to input
up
the
down
code on my
down,
Game
left
Boy.
right, BA select, no, BA
Something
start.
like that.
Yeah, something like that. It's
Yeah, something like that.
my old school gamer card's getting a little rusty. Castlevania. We talked about Castlevania a little bit ago.
Castlevania, yeah,
Yeah,
that's definitely one.
that would be great to see them
Yeah.
relinquish
Um,
that.
and of course, Metal Gear is
Oh,
Konami.
yeah,
I actually can't remember off the top of my head what else is Konami as far as like RPG is concerned.
yeah.
But I'm sure there's some like IPs that I'm not even really thinking of right now that has sort of like gone and died because Konami just does not know how to make new games anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, it'd be really
I
nice
know.
to see those IPs revisited, and Konami. Oh, Ganbare Goemon. Ganbare
Oh,
Goemon.
right.
That would
Yes.
be
Oh, that
great.
game is fun. That
Yeah.
game is fun. That
Oh,
game is fun.
I would be so
You know, I
happy.
was just thinking if Sony buys the Metal Gear IP, they
Oh
can
my
make
gosh.
they can make movies because Sony has the resources to make actual good films. And
Dude,
I honestly think Metal Gear, like if there's any game series that I feel like you can definitely turn into a action like movie that could be really really good, Metal Gear. Like nothing even comes close. That's like my number one. If I had the budget to make a movie today, hire all the A-list celebrity, get the best screenwriters possible, definitely Metal Gear
Kurt
movie.
Russell. You would get Kurt Russell
Kurt Russell,
because
yes.
I mean, Kurt Russell was the original Snake Plissken in Escape from New York, Escape from L.A.
Hmm.
And he's old enough now that I mean, he could be one of those like old, aging clones of Big Boss or whatever. Because
Hmm.
I don't follow Metal Gear very closely. I don't. The story is crazy to me. It's worse than some JRPGs. I think.
Well, if you look at who's behind the game, you wonder why, right?
Right. I know, but I mean, yeah, you could
Madman
put.
Kojima is just
I want him involved though. He's got a certain brand of insanity that I just love,
Mhm.
and
I
I
know.
think he would be such an awesome fit
Yeah, and they
for the
should
role that
definitely hire
inspired.
him.
I mean,
Yeah,
it
I mean,
inspired it. He
yeah,
inspired that through the Escape from L.A. and Escape from New York,
yes.
and
They should
Kyle Reese.
absolutely hire.
Kyle Reese was also from the Terminator. His character also inspired the cover art of the first Metal Gear game on
Really?
NES. Yeah,
Huh.
if you take a look at that, you'll find that it's legit, just like a trace of Kyle Reese.
I need to look that up. I need to
Yeah,
look that up.
yeah,
But
it's
yeah,
kind of
like
funny.
it wouldn't it be crazy if Sony would just hire like Kojima Studio to like make that movie and then like I mean who knows what else they can do. But yeah, I'm really rooting for Sony to just buy Konami out at this point
I mean, the
and
whole
buy
thing
all the
about
IPs.
I mean, if they're gonna be buying people anyway, I'm not like
Right?
rooting for like consolidation of IPs and stuff. But if they're
Mhm.
gonna be doing it anyway,
Yeah, I mean, Bungie, but Konami,
yeah, exactly.
I'm
It's
all
like the
for
meme,
Konami.
buying Bungie, buying Konami.
Yeah, buying Konami, please. Sony, if you hear us right now, I doubt it, but if anyone hears us from Sony, please just consider it.
Also, if anybody's here from Sony, I'm sorry for everything I've ever said.
Please sponsor us.
Yes, exactly. No, no, no. But you want to move on to the next little bit of it's not it's not industry news, but it's a little bit fan and community led news.
Yes.
This one's
So
pretty
that's something
exciting.
that we'll definitely want to cover more of too in the future. Because I think you guys are all excited to hear some of these fan community news, like like Geofront doing patches. You guys are all excited about that, right?
For
So
sure.
yeah. So along the vein of that, Tales of Destiny 2, not to be mistaken with Tales of Eternity, because that's a
Right.
completely different game. No, Tales of Destiny 2 English fan translation project confirms translation is fully complete and
Yeah.
the editing is at about 70%. So it's being done by this group called Lumina Tales. And from their official website, what the 70% really means, in quote, every bit of Japanese text in the game now exists in English. From menus, skits, and the main scenario script to mini games, cutscenes, and quiz book, all of it.
Wow.
Next step will involve the remainder of the editing that needs to be done for this text reinsertion and internal testing in the patch game itself. During this testing phase, we will be looking for bugs and remaining typographical errors, as well as checking the translation in context. End quote.
Yeah.
Um, so there you go. That's how far along they are. So if you are a Tales fan, just really waiting for Tales of Destiny 2 to get an official Western release, probably not going to happen. But if you will be willing to play through a fan patch, and I would imagine that you absolutely would love to get your hands on it. It's coming. It's
Yeah.
coming soon. So look out for that. We'll talk about it again once it's available.
For sure. That looks like it's a huge undertaking just based on that description.
Oh
They're
God,
not
yeah.
just doing the story, they're doing all of the I don't even know what the quiz
Yeah.
game is, but it sounds like a lot.
Hmm. I
So,
mean, just like mini games, and it's a whole lot of things. And I mean, even after you do the translation, you have to, you know, think about whether or not they actually make sense in the context of the
mhm,
game. You have to
yeah,
see if there are any bugs. It's a whole thing, and they're doing
yeah.
this for free.
Because when
This
you
is
dump the
yeah,
text of a game, you get like lines of code that are kind of no context given, right? So
yeah.
you gotta once you've done the initial translation, you have somebody play through it, hopefully see
Hmm.
everything, and then they're hopefully hopefully it all makes sense when there are people like
Yeah.
talking back and forth to each other.
Hmm. Yeah, I would
So
imagine that once it comes out, they're still gonna have to do some patching to the patch. So
yeah, I'm sure that there are going to be some updates in the works, no
yep,
doubt.
yep, absolutely. But I'm super stoked. I played the game. Actually, I have it. I have the game. And it was really good. So if anyone has not played it and you're a Tales fan, you're just really waiting for the English translation because you don't want to learn the language, which I don't blame you. Yeah, you're in luck. It's coming.
Oh man, that's exciting. I love it when fan translations come to fruition. There are some
Me
that,
too.
I mean, they're such a huge undertaking. Like it's almost like making a fan game. Like so many of
Hmm.
them start and then just kind of fade away. You know.
You know what I'm really hoping would happen, Derek? What
So
I'm really hoping is that Bamco will see this and don't send a cease and desist letter,
yeah.
but actually just
Mhm.
do what good guy Falcom did. I mean, they saw what happened. They saw and just maybe release the game on Steam. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
Put
You
out
you
a
have the game, you have the code.
Tales of Destiny collection on Switch. They could totally do
S-
that. Easy.
Anything, anything.
Easy peasy.
Yeah, they've already done the translation for you. Just buy it off of them and get some good publicity. Just be like, yeah, we're going through the. They don't even have to say we're going through the Falcon. Just like, yeah, we've heard you loud and clear.
Yeah.
You guys have interest in this game, so we're doing it with in collaboration with what is it, Lumina Tales. That would be super awesome. That would be like another feel good story. Like that I mean, just the amount of positive press that you would get is worth it,
Yeah.
right? I can't wait.
Me neither.
Well, here's the hope that something like this will happen. Anyways.
So there was also another bit of community news that was really exciting, and I saw a small spoiler of it in leading up to today's podcast. But I wanted to go ahead and take a look at this trailer as well because Bloodborne apparently received a PlayStation 1 style demake. And at first I
Yes.
heard at first I heard Bloodborne demake, and I'm like, oh, did they make it like a side scroller, like Castlevania or something? Like when I think of a demake, what's the first thing that you think of? Like, because
I've never even first of all I've never even heard of the word demake, which is very clever. And my confession is I've never heard of that word, right? But now that I know what demake means, I would think it would be like a side scroller or some kind of like a Zelda game. Like did they turn
yeah,
Bloodborne into like a Zelda game? Is that what they did,
that's what
right?
I thought. And then
Right?
because my first experience with a demake was like Final Fantasy VII getting that demake onto the NES, like that Chinese demake for the NES. Did you ever see that?
No, I have not.
That might be worth checking out at some point. But
Hmm.
that was my first experience with it, was going straight 8-bit. And this was from like back in the day when you know, when the
Oh, right, right, right. You know what? Now that I thought about it, yes, I do remember that now.
okay, yeah, it's pretty
Yes.
old. So that's my
Yeah, yeah,
thought
yeah.
of like a demake is, oh yeah, demake NES 8-bit, 16-bit pixel art. Ha ha ha. No, this is polygons still. So
Yes.
I want to take a look at this trailer real quick for it. Um so let's go ahead and get that going here.
Yeah, thing's crazy looking.
Okay. Look at this. I love the CRT filter that they have over top of it.
Right?
I wonder if that's built into the game. It must be.
I believe so. I believe it is built in because I've seen some people stream it already,
Okay.
and it's just incredible.
Yeah. That looks so insane.
Yes.
And I was wondering
When
if we'd ever see games done in this early PlayStation 1 style. Because whenever you see like an indie, it's always 8-bit, 16-bit. But there's got to be people out there with nostalgia for this visual aesthetic. I don't hate it. And it looks like it must play really nicely.
yeah.
That is so neat.
Man. So I think that first of all, if you're interested in this, go get it now.
Before the C and D goes out.
You never know when From Software is going to send a season C's, especially since it's got Bloodborne on the title.
And Sony.
Okay,
Sony
like-
would also, I think, because they own Bloodborne, I think. Like, I think
Yeah,
it was
so-
made by...
Mhm.
Sony's not going to
Yeah,
take that
so
one laying
get
down.
it now.
Although,
go do it.
I don't think it's going to be tough to find a torrent of it eventually, though, because apparently it's been downloaded more than 100,000 times in less than a day.
In less than a day. Less than
Whew.
a day. You guys need it. You guys need to hop on that. I download it immediately because I'm like, yeah, I can smell season C's coming, but I'm just gonna click on that really fast and just grab the files and you know, I may never play it, but I don't care. I just want it. I just want it somewhere. You know,
Yeah.
this is a great work of humanity. Like
It's
that
like-
I want a piece of.
It's like the PT demo. You know, someone's going to have it installed on their computer and going to sell it for $30,000 later on.
One of these days. One of these days.
People are scalping everything, so why not? But
Yeah.
I mean, the
yeah.
game looks like it was really nicely done.
Oh God, yeah.
You remember when I
think it might have been done
apologized to
by a single
Sony?
person again. So
Do you remember when I apologized to Sony like 5 minutes ago? I think that I think that they don't care anymore.
yeah, no,
Because-
they don't.
Because look at that. I mean, because they own the Bloodborne game. Like it was made by. I
From
think they own.
Software?
Yeah, it was made by From, but I'm pretty sure it was
Yeah.
licensed by Sony to be like their thing, right?
That
Kind of
I'm
like,
not sure.
kind of like.
That I'm not sure.
I thought it was like Demons or Demon Souls.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was like that, but maybe I'm wrong. But it was one of
Yeah.
the first games on PS4, and has it been ported to anything else, or is it also on PC? I don't even know.
I mean, it may be like an exclusivity thing. I don't know to what extent they
Yeah.
have, you know, exclusivity to it. Right.
Okay.
Yeah, but you know what? This brings up like a really interesting possibility because you know I think this is the first time where I'm really seeing such a huge reaction in this demake kind of you know projects, right?
Mhm.
I you know the companies have got to take notice of this, right?
Yeah, because
mean to
imagine how
tell
much
me-
cheaper it would be to make games like this than
Right. Right. You mean to tell me there's more way for me to milk my IP that doesn't cost as much to develop as a remake? What is it? A demake? People are into that stuff? Well,
I know.
let's just go through my IPs and see which one I can demake, right?
Yeah, maybe this
Um,
could be a new trend, sort of along the lines of Octopath Traveler, where you know people are now making the HD 2D. Well, how about the HD polygon? I don't know the whatever you would call it, but
Yeah.
that could be a whole new trend. I'd be here for it.
One style with the CRT overlays.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah,
That'd
and-
be pretty neat.
Yeah, you know, especially because I've always had this thought that the reason why we're getting a lot of like Super Nintendo and PS1 you know, remakes like why is Trials of Mana being remade now after all these time? Well, the people who grew up playing that game are now people who are holding the wealth, so it makes sense to make games for them.
Yeah.
Well, you know, that same group grew up with the PlayStation 1.
Yeah.
So guess what? If you're gonna do DMake in PS1 style, now is the time to do it.
In a way, like it. Think about it this way: it's kind of like movies, right? People would watch movies when they would get re-released from VHS onto DVD. They'd watch it again when it got ported to Blu-ray, right? Well,
Yeah.
now it's kind of like they're porting these games kind of in a similar way to new generations.
Hmm.
But also, you have some people who are on the edges who are doing like stylistic interpretations of movies from the 70s, and they're making new movies that look like that back in the day, really grindhouse double feature style like
Hmm.
looking movies. And in this low poly model that of Bloodborne, it kind of feels like that sort of style or that sort of take on
Yeah.
the I don't know if there was an analogy here, but it might have broken down. But I feel like those are sort of similar concepts.
No, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, it's sort of like dude, I I'm just reluctant to say the word retro because like everything is retro,
I
like
know.
16-bit retro, 8-bit retro, like everything is retro. I mean, this in a way, it is very similar to doing that or like the movie movement, right? Like you're trying to recreate, a very specific art aesthetics from a certain time period, right?
Yeah,
But this looks really well made, and just I can't wait. Like I think a lot of like new action games that's come out. I mean, they could do one like a PSX Yakuza. I would play it.
hmm.
They do a PSX like a Yakuza PSX. I would do it. I would play it. That
That
would be
would be interesting.
hilarious.
That would be
I
pretty
would play it.
interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Yeah. What are some games that you would want to see this sort of demake? If you get to pick one game, what would it be?
that implies I've played something new enough to get a demake.
I mean,
How
you,
about how
you, you
about
could have.
dude? What if Final Fantasy VII remake got a demake?
Okay, you know what? You say that, you laugh now, but I think somebody out there is probably working on this.
You might be right.
Like take the
Uh,
original Final Fantasy 7 graphics, but like do the remake, right?
yeah.
I,
Just
I
drop the
think
poly
someone would
count.
be working on this.
That'd be pretty funny. I
That would be hilarious. Please, if we have any developers here right now, please think of it. Like think about it. It's just like a passion project. Consider it. 25th anniversary. Like
hey,
just consider it.
that would be pretty funny. So
Yeah.
then you'd have God at that point you'd have Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy VII remake on the NES, Final Fantasy VII remake, Final Fantasy VII remake demake. God, you'd have so many iterations, all of the emakes.
People love Final Fantasy 7. I mean, more ways to enjoy the game, I'm sure.
That would be pretty interesting.
Final
Oh,
Fantasy 7 remake
oh
demake. There you go.
yes,
Let's do
that's it.
that,
Let's see it. Let's see it happen. Let's make it happen,
please.
guys. So
Yeah, so this game is available for download again from the dev site.
for
Go
now,
do it.
for now,
Yeah, go do it now. And if there are any games that you would love to see a demake of, please comment
yeah.
down below. Let us know. We'll read it and then we'll talk about it.
Actually, that sounds like a really great idea.
Right?
Yeah. So before we wind down, Baku, what are you doing? Where can people find you, and what are you playing?
Well, you can find me in Twitch at Bakusan JRPG. In fact, I will actually be streaming Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Torna right after this podcast. So you want to come by, you want to see Baku After Dark, where I will let loose and start cursing up a storm. I really had to control myself on YouTube. I was like, Derek, I swear I wouldn't cuss on YouTube, but Twitch is a different story. So come by to see more of me if you aren't sick of me already.
Yeah, a little wind down. You drink tea during
Yes.
the show, but you during the podcast during your streams you're drinking something else too. Um,
Yeah. On regular days, you can find me Wednesday through Saturday, 9 p.m. Eastern time. Well, we'll be playing RPGs, of course.
Awesome. And while you're over there following Baku's on JRPG, be sure you also follow me because I also stream over there on the Twitch. My I am found at SuperDerek RPGs. No, there's no at sign. It's just SuperDerek RPGs on Twitch. I'm streaming Shin Megami Tensei 5 on hard mode right now. Yep, links are down below. I stream there every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, starting at 6 p.m. Central. And yeah, links are below. Give us a follow, and we'll see you there, and we can hang out. You can ask questions if you want, and just otherwise hang out with a cool group of people who are just always hanging out in the chat, many of whom are in this chat, and thank you all for being here.
Yeah,
so
thank you, guys.
I guess at this point, we'll just go ahead and take a look and see what super chats we have received here today. And Duobeard actually sent us a chat here. Said Hironobu Sakaguchi and Final Fantasy VII share the same birthday.
Is that right?
I had no idea. Is that true?
I gotta look that up.
That's pretty incredible because, I mean, it cannot be a coincidence because Hironobu Sakaguchi was synonymous with Final Fantasy VII and its creation. You know, wildly inspired by his own loss of his mother, as I understand it. And
let's see, Hironobu Sakaguchi. He's born in November 25th, 1962.
November 25th. Okay.
And are we talking about Final Fantasy VII?
The original.
The original.
Yeah.
Let's see. Only one way to confirm this. And it is not. You lied to us. Actually, no, hold on. That might not be the original release date.
Oh, were you looking on Google or on Wiki? Because Google will tell you the American release date.
I was looking at Wiki. The release date was 2005. Oh, 20. Wait, no, hold on.
Oh, got to see all the release dates.
Should be January 1997. Did I miss something?
7th of September 1997, apparently. Oh, wait, nope, January 31st. January 31st, 97. And
yeah, that's not November. You lied.
In the
Do a beer.
Okay, but in Europe, in Germany and the UK, it was November 17th.
Oh.
So, I don't know.
That's still not November 25th. Damn it.
That's all right.
He's sitting there like, I made you look,
Well, whatever. It's fine. Thank you so much for the super chat there, Duo Beard.
Thank you, Duo Beard.
Oh, man.
Yeah. If you guys ever want to just shoot something at us, super chat is the way to go. We'll definitely read it towards the end of the show.
For sure. So, any closing thoughts from you there, Baku?
Cannot wait to see what we do next week.
I know. This was such a lot of fun. And I was just thinking, you remember how we were thinking like let's maybe try to keep these episodes to like under an hour?
How long was that?
We're going on 2 hours right now.
I called it.
We're about
man.
hour 55 minutes or so.
I called it. Well, once you trim it down, it's going to be like an hour and a half.
Yeah, it's fine.
I called it.
All right, man. Well, thank you everybody for hanging out with us this evening, and we'll have this podcast posted tomorrow if all goes well on all of the podcasting locations. If you enjoyed today's episode, please give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. And until then, have a great rest of your day, everyone.
Have a great day or night.